another YouTube live Sakara live shopping event. I'm Whitney.
And I'm Danielle.
We're the
And
founders of Sakara. Excited to be talking to you today
yeah,
about one of our brand new supplements in our new supplement line.
so they just launched last week, and there were 4 products in the Essentials line. Today we'll be talking about the Daily Elixir, which is your liquid multivitamin. But we also launched Metabolism Bites, which are thermogenic gummies. We
This is
also
a little VIP mailer for those of you who entered last week to win one of these. This is what it looked like.
We also launched Night Service, which is this amazing sleep supplement that
So
helps you
obsessed
fall
with night
asleep
service.
and stay asleep. Yep. And then last but not least, the Cell Reset, which is like basically this nutrient booster that you can take a few times throughout the day. You can take it with your elixir, etc. So we thought last week we kind of went briefly over all 4 of those. And then over the next couple weeks, we'll be going over each one individually, just to like really give you guys an idea of, how much intention and design went into each of these products, to make sure, you really get to nourish. I actually just did a Vogue interview about one of our products, and we were talking about just like how unregulated the industry is.
Ugh.
And that you have to, in one hand, it can be advantageous, right? Because we can bring things to market very quickly. On the other hand, it's not great because you really have to trust where you're getting your products from. There was an expose done a few years ago by the New York Times, and they went in and they tested a bunch of different supplements on different shelves, like GNC, Vitamin Shop, etc. And they found that over half of them didn't even contain the active ingredient that they were mentioning. So like if it was ashwagandha, like they've tested and it doesn't even contain any ashwagandha. So it's a unregulated, kind of scary world. And if you haven't heard me and Whit say this yet, it's probably one of our biggest kind of like heartbreakers, pet peeves, is like when we go to do something good for ourselves and it actually isn't what we think it is or what we're told it is, or we don't know enough. So like, maybe reaching for the salad dressing that's, filled with canola oil, or, reaching for the supplement and it doesn't even contain what you were told it contains. It just breaks my heart, because if we're bringing our intention and our dollars and our time to these wellness routines and rituals, I think the least these brands can do is make sure that they deliver. So we spent a lot of time making sure these products are not only in the most bioavailable forms, but really, really worked on, making sure we get the highest quality nutrients
Yeah,
possible and make it delicious.
making them as clean as possible. I totally agree with you. I remember one year a friend came to visit from abroad, and his wife wanted him to bring back this multivitamin that, it's been around for a lot of years and has a big name brand, and went to the drugstore and bought a big bunch of them to put into his suitcase. And I turn it over and it has red dye number 40, yellow number 6, blue lake, titanium dioxide, has artificial food colorings in it and titanium dioxide, like what's in your sunscreen, inside of this multivitamin. And these were white tablets. Like, why do they even need food coloring, food dyes in them like that if it's a white tablet? It just totally blew my mind. And then you look at the list of nutrients, they include synthetic forms of nutrients that your body's not going to absorb. They include different forms that could actually be harmful for certain people who have genetic mutations and specific things to their health, which maybe we'll get into a little bit with things like the MTHFR gene mutation. But just so shocked. They thought that his wife thought that she was doing something really healthy for her body, going out of her way to get this product all the way from America brought home to her. And it was filled with complete junk. So, like you're saying, you have to be really intentional, especially if this is something you're putting into your body every single day.
Exactly. So let's go over, some of the amazing nutrients and ingredients in the daily elixir and talk about why. Before we get kind of into the details, let's talk a little bit about, why the daily liquid multi when we have our foundation. So we have the foundation, which is a pack of 6 pills. And, we got some feedback that though people love what's in them, it can be really hard to take 6 pills. I think it's really hard for a lot of people. They would forget. And it was just like one more thing to remember to do. And it is hard because it's like if you have those pills, if you're taking other pills or sometimes you need to take pills like 1 pill in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening. It can just get really overwhelming. And with this new launch of these 4 essentials, our goal was really to take the noise out of wellness. It's like it's gotten so noisy. I know all of you are probably overwhelmed with what to do, what to eat, how to work out, if you should do cold plunge, if you shouldn't, if you should fast, if you shouldn't. There's so many opinions and so much noise. But continually, what we believe, what the literature shows, is that it really matters. The small decisions that you make every day are what really matter. They're what really ladder up to health span, longevity, etc. And I know it's not as sexy to talk about the small little things we do every day as it might be like a big, kind of like sweeping thing, like you're gonna totally overhaul or you're gonna take that 1 pill that's supposed to change your life. We wanted to ritualize these. We wanted to make them delicious because taking this daily elixir every morning, putting it next to your beauty routine or your toothbrush or something you already do, you take a shot, you don't have to think about it again. And these little decisions of making sure you get your multi, because it's hard to remember to take your pills, and we can guarantee you for sure that taking your multi is much more effective than not taking your multi, right? Your multi can't do anything if it's staying in the pack or it's staying in the bottle. So we designed this to go into rituals you already have, like getting ready in the morning. It tastes a little minty, so you can do it before your toothbrush or after. It's delicious. You can put it in water, but honestly, I personally think the best way to take it is you just pour it in the lid and you take a shot. It's next to your beauty routine and you're done for the day.
Yeah. So this is the mini size. This is the sample size. My full size is coming in the mail, and I can't wait for it to get here. And that's bigger, and it has that dosing cap on top. It's like a shot glass. It fits right on top. So everything's in one place. You take it out, you pour it into your little shot glass dosing cup. Take your shot in the morning, rinse it out under the sink, pop it back on, and it's good to go. So it doesn't need to be refrigerated. It can just sit right there on your counter next to your toothbrush or next to your skincare routine. And it becomes part of that morning routine. I can't even tell you what a game changer it is to just slide into your beauty routine like that, rather than having another thing to remember to do in the morning as you're trying to run out the door.
Yeah, and I think, this is where I'm so grateful to have such an amazing team, because I think Whit and I, we've been innovating on these things for 15 years, and we tend to bring to market things like we really believe in and we really use. And we tend to think less about is this going to be easy to use? Is it going to, fit into people's life? I think sometimes we ask a lot of you guys. And so it was really our team bringing in client feedback that was like, I need something that's easy. I need something that I don't have to think about. I'm on the go. And, when they proposed this idea of particularly the liquid multi that would sit next to your beauty routine, I was like, okay, we'll make the best liquid on the market for sure. But does it matter that it's next to your toothbrush or whatever? And then when we were in the process, I, got the samples and I was like, I'll try it. Let's try it. And it does matter. Turns out it was it felt so good to just have that done and not have to think about it. You know, when you have those lingering things in your mind of like, oh, I should do that, or I should take that. It's like we all have this decision fatigue. And to just know that like my multivitamin, kind of like my nutritional insurance was taken care of even before I brushed my teeth. It felt really good and it did matter. So bravo team.
Yes. So I'm trying it. I'm like you. I like to just take it straight out of the little dosing cup, the little shot glass lid. But I've been seeing so many people posting on their social media, putting it into a glass of water, or even into sparkling water and turning it into a drink because, again, it tastes good. It's actually enjoyable. But I have to admit, I haven't tried it like this yet. So here we go. We're going to try it. I'm mixing it around. It looks a lot darker on my screen than it does in real life. It's actually like a really beautiful, almost like a cucumber juice looking color in real life.
And also before we move on, you guys should know that if you're in this live with us and today only, if you order one of our new supplements, you can do the Elixir or any of the other three. You use the code community_DE, which is short for daily elixir. So community_DE. And you will automatically get an invitation to a private session with our in-house nutritionist and dietitian, Colleen. She's amazing.
Yeah. So if you have personal questions that you want to ask, this will be your chance to get a session in there. It'll be a community session, but you're going to get your chance to be in there with her in that private group session. So that's if you get any of our supplements today using that code community_DE, short for daily elixir. I think I might. Well, I feel like some days I'll do it straight out of the lid and some days I'm going to drink it like this. I really like it like this. And I could even see myself adding some ice cubes or sparkling water to it and enjoying it as a little beverage, taking my multivitamin as a refreshment, almost like a healthy soda if I put it in sparkling water.
Great.
I'm converted. I'm hooked.
So maybe we get into some of the nitty gritty now, some of the, nutrients, why we chose them in this form, etc. So one big one that maybe you guys have heard of, maybe you haven't, are methylated B vitamins. So over 40% of the population has a genetic mutation that makes it so that it can actually not put Bs, like from food, from supplements, into their active form. They cannot methylate properly. And methylation in general is, there can't really be a most important thing in the body because it's all synergistic and important, but as it relates to how our DNA informs what proteins, what peptides, everything that's kind of informed from our DNA, which is everything, comes from a methylation process. It helps turn on certain genes, turn off certain genes based on our environment, based on what our body needs. So you can imagine that if you are not getting those B vitamins that help with all of that, then you are not able to methylate in all those different ways. And we actually did an interview, a press interview a couple weeks ago, and the journalist was saying like she had that genetic mutation and she didn't know for so long, and it ended up having really long lasting impacts on her and her life. And so she had been taking the wrong form of Bs for so very long, and that's most definitely the kind of Bs that are in the supplements Whitney was talking about earlier. It's a lot cheaper to do the non-methylated versions. So we include methylated B vitamins, which even if you do not have that genetic predisposition, your body can still use the methylated form of Bs in order to do all the things that B vitamins do.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, where if you haven't been tested, it's safer to just go ahead and use those methylated forms, because a good portion of the population have that and don't even know about it. So this is a great form that you can use whether you have the MTHFR gene variation or not. Then it's great. And actually, one of my good friends, she didn't know that she had it, and she was taking her prenatal supplement, thinking again she was doing something great for her body, and got really sick later. And her doctor, her functional medicine doctor, told her it was because she was taking those non-methylated B vitamins that were building up in her system because she couldn't process them. So, yep, we are picking each nutrient type in our daily elixir liquid multivitamin to be there specifically as the best form possible.
So in this case, it's methylated folate, methylated vitamin B12, both critical for cellular function and in their bioavailable forms. One of the other ones that I don't think gets enough street cred is vitamin E. It's actually,
vitamin E.
Yeah, it's one of the most powerful antioxidants. Like it really, you can think of it as like it goes in and it really mops up free radicals. And inflammation gets a lot of talk, but the point of inflammation is it's how our cells talk to each other. So it's really important. It's a really important process that the body needs, but unfortunately, in this kind of world we're living in, which is both like toxins in our environment, our air, our water, our food, but also high stress, looking at, lights like this all day, not on their circadian rhythm, that can really increase inflammation. And so we have to be more conscious about combating oxidative stress. And vitamin E is a superpower antioxidant. And it can be really hard to get from our foods as well. And so in this daily elixir in your single shot, you get over 400% of your daily needed vitamin E. And when you think about lowering inflammation, that's everything from cognitive health to how well you sleep, to skin clarity and getting that glow. So it's like a cascade of things that vitamin E can really impact and help with.
And I think while we're on this topic of antioxidants, can we just talk about the antioxidant extract blend that is in this? Because that's actually one of my favorite parts of our daily elixir formulation, is that it comes with an antioxidant blend inside of it. This is something really special. It's something that you're not going to find in other multivitamins. And it goes back to kind of our roots and what we believe in, plants as medicine, and that plants just have special qualities to them, special phytonutrients, nutrients you can only get from plants, that do amazing things for the body. So we're talking about antioxidants like vitamin E. We also include this blend that has blueberry fruit extract, amla fruit extract, noni fruit extract, goji fruit extract, blackberry, acai, green tea, grapeseed extract, beetroot extract, grape skin extract. So you're getting all of those amazing antioxidants into your body. It's like eating the rainbow, except in a bottle.
And,
so really,
these are extracts from whole foods. And so the beautiful thing about extracts from whole foods is that you're getting nutrients in the food that we might not even know exist, but we do know that in whole food form, we tend to absorb more nutrients. So like if you're thinking about like beta carotene in a carrot, it's a lot easier to absorb than from, a supplement. And so the intention behind pulling in whole foods into supplement form is again getting back to that bioavailability, making sure that you get to absorb these nutrients, not just like have them pass through your detox pathways and that's it. And even like thinking about taking vitamin C, if you take, a vitamin C powder and some water, they say you should always like squeeze some orange or some lemon in it because it has cofactors that help you absorb the vitamin C.
Yeah. And then again, talking about helping to fight free radicals in our body, none of us want to have accelerated aging. We all want to slow that aging process and extend our longevity. And antioxidants play such a crucial role in making that happen. So I love this also as part of my longevity routine. And then also part of my beauty routine. Antioxidants just are great for beauty overall. And again, slowing that aging process. And I love that this fits on my counter next to my skincare. It's becoming part of my beauty routine. And in more ways than one, becoming part of my routine, as in I do my skincare in the morning, and then I like to take my shot of the daily elixir. But also because these nutrients help support my hair, skin, and nails. So, when it comes to the body and utilizing its nutrients and protecting different parts of the body, hair, skin, and nails are some of the first that the body will stop sending support to if it doesn't have enough nutrition. It's going to protect your brain, heart, and lungs first and foremost, but your hair, skin, and nails aren't, crucial to staying alive. So if you're not getting enough nutrients, if you're not getting enough nutrition through your food and what you're consuming on a daily basis, then you're going to start to see it in your hair, skin, and nails first. So taking a multivitamin supplement like our Sakara Daily Elixir is going to help fill those nutrient gaps and make sure you're getting those nutrients so that you can support things like your hair, skin, and nails, not just your organs, but which I love. All about beauty from the inside out.
Amen. So I think maybe a quick overview of like why nutrients are important. I mean, I think we all think it's obvious, but like I think understanding really truly, I think there's a lot of talk about macronutrients like protein, carbs, etc. And we tend to kind of equate those to muscle or fat or calories, but then the nuances of micronutrients are nuanced. And so really kind of understanding when we say micronutrients, which, is what is all in our daily elixir, like what's it for? So maybe we walk through like a couple examples of what micronutrients are in charge of, like just a few of them, because we couldn't possibly go over all of them. And then also why, like, why do we need to supplement with them? Why do Whitney and I supplement, even though, we spend a lot of time making sure we eat very well, eat our Sakara meals, etc. Then like, what's the point of supplementing? So when you think about vitamins, micronutrients, you can think about them as these things that allow the mechanics of our cells to work. If you think about the kind of insane process that it takes to eat something and then have its constituents turn into all these things that help our cells do their work, like help us, move our muscle, help our synapses in our brain work, help our nervous system, create nutrients for the inner lining of our gut so we don't have leaky gut. I mean, there's just so many things. So a couple examples that I think are nice to talk through are things like our neurotransmitters. I was actually just talking about the Vogue editor on our metabolism bites because they contain a specific extract of saffron that really help with our neurotransmitters, but our body has to create neurotransmitters. It's not something that we eat, it's something that our body makes. And so how do we take the food that we eat and turn it into feel-good dopamine or serotonin? This is where things like micronutrients really come into play. So things like, the methylated Bs, we were just talking about vitamin B6 and how it helps us turn on melatonin and helps us make melatonin. Things like magnesium and how that relates to, how we take amino acids from our food and turn it into really important metabolites like epinephrine. And I think the nuances of all of these are so interesting. And I don't know if you guys remember these processes from your biology class. But if you think about energy production, how we take a carbohydrate into our body, it is the main form of fuel for our cells in our body. And we turn that glucose molecule into ATP, which is basically like the currency of our cells. It's how our cells do work. It's the energy that they use to do work. And how you take a carbohydrate and you turn it into ATP for cells requires everything. We're talking about the Bs, we're talking about vitamin E, we're talking about iron, we're talking about vitamin C, we're talking about, all the amino acids that we get. And I think it's really important to think about these processes, because when you hear like, oh, I just got to get my Bs, I don't know about you guys, but me personally, I'm like, I have to understand the why. I have to understand that getting enough of these individual things is so important for the individual functions of our cells. Our bodies literally cannot do what they are meant to do. It's why Whitney and I, stand on our soapboxes and preach that calorie in is not calorie out. And this is exactly why, because if you're getting empty calories, our cells can't do their work. If you're getting calories that are full of nutrients, then that allows our cells to do their work. And when our cells cannot do their work, that is where we get, cognitive decline, speeding up the aging process, leaky gut, holding on to visceral fat around the midline, not building muscle, losing bone mass, etc.
I think a lot of people, they know, okay, if you don't get enough vitamin C, you get scurvy, right? Like that's the extreme form of not getting enough vitamin C. Okay, we're not traveling on ships overseas like this anymore, like back in the day where that was really where you heard about scurvy. But that spectrum between being vitamin C deficient and scurvy, that is a whole spectrum. And it is like that for all of these different nutrients, whether it's you are low in B1, thiamine, that has a whole range of different like symptoms that could come along if you're deficient. And so I think, people might think, well, if I don't have scurvy, I'm not deficient in vitamin C. No, there is a whole spectrum in between being healthy and having enough and having scurvy.
And the spectrum is often silent, right? I mean, you learn that about autoimmunity. There are 4 phases to autoimmunity, and most of them you might not feel. Or you might feel like what Whitney and I call the check engine light is on, like, gosh, I just don't have as much energy, or I'm having a really hard time losing weight, or I'm not sleeping through the night, or, put in your check engine light. One of my check engine lights is like, I'll get a sore throat. It tends to be like where my stress goes. My glands will swell up. Like I can tell that my immune system is not functioning. And so we each individually have our check engine lights where our body starts telling us it's not working. And that tends to be the time where we double down on making sure we're getting the nourishment. And the nice thing about the daily elixir is like, you just take it every day. It's so easy. And then at least you have a lot of your bases covered.
Yeah. Because the thing about the check engine light is, are you acknowledging it? Or are you just going,
like, do you even
how can I turn that
in now? Yeah.
Well, or are you going, how can I turn that annoying light off? Not, oh, let me go check my engine and make sure everything is okay. It's like, how do I just turn that light off, And so a lot of people are just covering up symptoms. Okay, I don't have enough energy. Let me just drink another cup of coffee, get another shot of espresso so that I'll have more energy, rather than saying, okay, am I getting enough nutrients? Am I getting the right form of nutrients, and getting healthy sleep, healthy diet, enough rest, like all of the other bases that we talk about. You have to cover that foundation. And our daily elixir liquid multivitamin really helps you in that foundational health, covering your foundation, so that then when you're going out and you're doing all of those other things that you might be doing, whether it's the infrared saunas or acupuncture or whatever it might be, or red light, all of those are going to work better when you're covering your bases, when you have the right nutrition in your body. then your red light is actually going to work better on your skin, and everything else you're doing is going to be amplified. So that's really why we like to start with that foundational nutrition.
And just in case for those of you that are just tuning in, if you order any of our products today, any of our new line of essentials, you can check out with the code community_DE, short for Daily Elixir. And you'll automatically get an invitation to a private session with our in-house nutritionist and dietitian, Colleen, which will be amazing. So yeah, if you have any personal questions you want to ask, that would be an amazing time to ask it. She's full of knowledge. So also, I just wanted to touch on the issue with kind of like our food system too, because that can't really be ignored. You know, we're living in a world where there's, you know, big ag, there's big farms, we're using synthetic fertilizers, like the soil that gave our food nutrients is not in the health that it once was. We used to think soil was just kind of like a place where plants lived and didn't really think of it as like this living, breathing ecosystem. So we've been dousing it with a lot of chemicals over the past 70 years, since World War II, really. And the way it shows up in our food system is not only toxins on our food, which can impair all of those cellular functions we were talking about earlier, can impair how bioavailable certain nutrients are, but also means that our food is likely lower in a lot of key nutrients. And there have been some interesting studies on this, kind of marking, and it's hard, right? Because, you know, you're literally comparing apples to oranges. And so it's hard because in scientific studies, you have to try and have some kind of control, but we don't have a control. But it does definitely appear as though the nutrients in our food is declining. And so what was once, you know, high in vitamin C, like strawberries and orange, is lower. And so we have to be more intentional with supplementing than maybe in past generations. And so that's something I think about. Like if our cells can't do their work when they get the nutrient, when they don't get the nutrients they need, then, and even if we're intentional with our food, we still need that kind of like nutritional insurance to make sure we're getting what we need.
Yeah. And I mean, science also shows us that the longer produce has been away from, you know, being on the vine, let's call it, like picked from the tree or picked from the vine, the amount of time it spends between being in the ground or picked to your plate, it is degrading in nutrition all along the way. And nowadays, you know, if you're not eating Sakara meals on a regular basis where we're closing that gap between you and the farm, then it can often be, you know, weeks between when it's picked to getting on your plate. And so, you know, it gets picked and then it gets shipped to a distributor and then it gets shipped to the grocery store. Maybe it sits in the back of the grocery store for a few days, and then it sits on the shelf for a few days, and then it's in your fridge for a few days. All of that time, it's losing its nutrition. And so our food, like Danielle was saying, doesn't have as much nutrition as when, you know, I know my grandparents grew a lot of their own food in their own garden. And my mom, she still grows a lot of her food in her own garden, but I'm not growing a lot of food. And I think future generations aren't going to be growing a lot of their own food. And if you live in New York City, you're definitely not growing your own food. I tried to grow tomatoes on my fire escape once. It did not work. But all to say, like getting a supplement, a high quality supplement to boost your nutrient intake is necessary in today's day because our food just isn't what it once was.
And then I think, you know, kind of lastly, the way this was designed is the nutrients in here are really synergistic. So, you know, so there'll be some multivitamins where they'll just kind of like bomb you with really high percentages, and they can be, you know, they can be antagonists to each other. So like some nutrients can block the absorption of other nutrients. like calcium, for example. And so not only the quantities of each nutrient in this, but which nutrients we included were meant for like maximal availability for your body and without causing issues. So you can imagine, our body is not used to getting nutrients in such high quantities all at once. And so what that impacts first are our detoxification pathways. So like our liver, our phases of detoxification in our liver. And so we don't just want to bomb our system. So this is like a really gentle but effective and highly bioavailable form of a multivitamin. So you'll notice the effects without, kind of getting the issues that a lot of supplements can cause.
I think if anybody is going home with a takeaway today, that really should be it. Just that you want to, if you're on the market for a multivitamin, that you want to make sure what are the forms that are in the multivitamin. Well, first, is it a trustworthy source? Like Danielle was saying, it's the Wild West. And like that study showed, certain supplements didn't even contain the main ingredient the main active ingredient that they were marketing to. So making sure you're buying from a really trusted source. We take these supplements ourselves. We get everything third-party tested. We have a standards page on our website if you want to check out what our standards are. But making sure that it's really a stand-up, high-quality supplement from a brand you trust. Then making sure that the forms of the nutrients are the bioavailable forms. And lastly, that it's intentional and thoughtfully done, that they're synergistic, that it's the right amounts, that they work together in harmony so that you can actually absorb what's in the supplement and that it's not doing more harm, overloading your liver, but actually in a form that your body can use and benefit from.
So I think a good way to kind of close is, we're going to do another live next week. No, 3/19, March 19th on the cell reset, which is the next one we'll talk about. And it's something that I do them together. So the cell reset contains fulvic acid and wild blueberry extract, both really great for inflammation. But fulvic acid in particular is really interesting. So it comes from soil. And what it does is it helps plants absorb nutrients from the soil. And it does the same thing in our bodies. So it actually helps our bodies absorb nutrients, making whatever we're eating or the supplements we're taking more bioavailable. So as you can see, Whitney's taking it straight. A lot of times fulvic acid is like not tasty. It's actually rather disgusting. So we designed this to be really delicious by adding, the wild blueberry. And you can just I add the drops straight to my cap of the daily elixir. Because I like to just be done and not have to worry about it. But you could also just put the cell reset in your bag, and just let it be something when you remember. It doesn't have to be every day, but again, it's like, I want to get as many nutrients as I can from my food and my supplements. And so for me, just getting it done in the morning is a really great way to make sure that your wellness to-do list does not get too long, or that you don't even have one, that it's just like there and you do it and it's easy. Like we're not really going to forget to brush our teeth or put on moisturizer. And so it's right there and easy and delicious.
Yeah, this one's so good. My son loves this one. He asks for it. It's really tasty. Again, this is the little sample size that I have. My full size are coming in the mail and I'm so excited. I've been living off of all of my samples until then. That's how new these supplements are. They're straight hot off the press here. But just, I love this one. I've tried to take fulvic acid for so long over the years, and I just can't ever stick to it because it's just gross. But this is so good. I can't wait for everybody to try this one too. And like you said, it's a booster, so it's a great combo. If you're getting the daily elixir, this is a great add-on to boost the nutrition that you're getting from that daily elixir.
So the details of that one will be on 3/19, but next week we're talking about night service here on our YouTube live.
My personal favorite.
that one will be very easy. My husband
I'm
was just
obsessed with these.
show for me outside the window.
What's
Trying to,
that?
my husband was just giving me a show outside the window, doing a little dance. All right, he's getting his
Lucky
beat.
you.
He
Lucky
has
you.
it. He was just doing a dance. It was hilarious. He was trying to make me smile, not knowing I'm live. That's
You
okay.
can watch the replay of this later.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, next week will be night service. It'll be so fun to talk about. So easy to talk about. We've been talking about that one forever. But you know, a lot of you guys can't sleep, and we've been there, and we're living in a high stress moment in history for several reasons. And I think that if you can't sleep, it's really hard to have these other conversations. It's like sleep is so foundational and so restorative that it's like we really have to make sure we're getting that rest. So we're excited to dig into night service next week and tell you all
Yeah.
about
Yeah, come with your questions and we will see you next week. This has been so fun chatting with you, Danielle, and talking about the Daily Elixir. Everybody, I just recommend try it. It's a game changer. It's a game changer.
it. Indeed,
So
enjoy your daily elixir cocktail over there.
I will. You know I will.
Bring it to parties and just put it in your wine glass. All right, guys. Love being here with you. Come next week with questions and we'll see you soon. Bye.
Cheers.